the project is fully permitted, and we are really started some construction, and we'll be starting the bulk of the construction very soon. So very exciting time, and a company that is transforming itself. I think from an investor point of view, that is what you are after, a company that used to be something, but will become something very different and hopefully a lot better going forward.
Welcome to the ASX Investor channel. For companies in the resources space looking to make that exciting transition from developer towards producer, there are of course a number of key milestones that they look to tick off that help them to de-risk that project. On one side, there's the feasibility studies and the final investment decision packed in and around that. Of course, there's financing, but permitting approvals are another key milestone for any developer. And today we're going to be speaking to Highfield Resources. ASX HFR have just finalised their final license that they've needed. They've closed the book on their permitting chapter. We're speaking to the CEO, Ignacio Salazar, about the Highfield Resources opportunity. They're playing in the potash space. We know that an interesting sector, particularly with the supply and demand dynamics and everything that's been playing out in the macroeconomic landscape. Ignacio, it's a pleasure to have you back on the channel. Welcome back.
This is great to be here. Thanks.
There's been so much going on. Before we talk about, of course, everything that's gone on, the final license has been granted. Let's just give a little bit of a recap for the viewers. Of course, we previously had a conversation, so they can go back and look there if they want to understand the potash sector and the supply and demand dynamics. But can you just talk about potash itself, the market opportunity, and more importantly, where things are currently trending and what you've been seeing over the past period?
The potash market, I mean, we are talking about MOP in our case, unit of potash, which is probably for the Australian market worthwhile to make the difference with SOP. 70, 80 million tons globally. We are developing, well, about to start, we started construction last year, but the bulk of construction now for 500,000 to become in second phase into 1 million tons per year. So, well, a very important entry in the market, especially because of the location of this project in Europe. A lot going on, as you know, from COVID, following COVID, crop prices going up, potash prices going through the roof. After that, the war in Ukraine, Russia and Belarus are number 2 and 3 globally of producers after Canada. So very important globally, the disruption in their supply, and very important that we are a project about to start construction in Europe, where there is a huge deficit of potash. 60% of European demand used to be imported, mainly from Russia and Belarus. So very, very key, very strategic project in Europe, and very special situation right now, not only prices, but geopolitically overall.
A strategic project, as you mentioned, it seems like it's the right time for it to be in preparation. As we've talked about, of course, the construction license has been granted. Obviously, it's a process. I think you've previously talked about the fact that the permitting chapter is now over. You can close the book on that one. But can you talk about this license that's just been granted and also what it now unlocks moving forward for you?
So the company, we also had already, obviously, the environmental permit. We got into 2021 massive step with the mining concession, when in our case, several mining concessions for this project. But most important, there were 2 key construction licenses. I mean, one related to the mine, the ramps, the other one to the processing plant. The one from the ramps, again, we got it in last year, in 2022. And this was the last key license to allow us to move into construction. So for many projects, mining projects that really get stuck in this phase, was important with the history of the company to get to the finish line. And we are very, very happy to be able to move to another chapter, to the construction, and be able to say that this is a fully permitted project. So very, very important, very, very glad to get to this point, and looking forward to the next steps, obviously.
And looking forward to those next steps. If you can kind of elaborate on those, what does that pathway towards construction look like, and even some timelines as well that you're working towards?
Well, we've done a lot of work already on the financing of the project, and people are very much aware of the work we did with the banks for more than a year in terms of due diligence, and just to get a pre-finance loan signed of 320 million euros. And so that is ready for us. We've been working in parallel to complement that with some leasing of mining equipment that we should be able to announce shortly in the order of 25 million extra with Macquarie. And very much have been working as well with strategic investors as we in the last few months. I mean, obviously with the license, some of these discussions were to some extent, well, not helped by the fact that a lot of people investors obviously are very sensitive to permitting risk. So this is always obviously helping us to give the final push. And basically what we are expecting is with a strategic or the market or both, just to get to the full funding of the project. We are talking about phase one. Remember, capex is 436 million. All of this in euros. So very keen to see that process moving. And after that, we are very much ready from the point of view of preparation for construction. Obviously, we realize it's not a small endeavor here. We are right now kept the team in a 30 staff Highfield group here, and we will be escalating well in the next 2.5 years. Construction is going to take place to a 1,000 staff effort. So very, very important. We are thinking and preparing to strengthen the team and obviously to build up not only the mine, but the team as we go forward.
An exciting process as you scale up. Obviously, there's a lot of different things to think about on that front. Since we last spoke as well, it's been a busy period. You did update your feasibility study too. It's fascinating. Yeah. I think we're all familiar with the changing macroeconomic climate. There's been so many different variables to put into it. But yeah, can you talk about some of those numbers and what you think about them all?
Well, that was important. And in that sense, I say we are not only from the engineering, but also from all the feasibility has been updated. And by the way, that was important not only because we had a lot more, let's say, understanding of the numbers. So we were getting to 84% of our cost to be either firm offers or very, very sort of solid numbers behind that. But also, I think even more important, that was the reflection of adding all the inflation pressures we've seen during 2022, and obviously everybody very concerned about. At the time, electricity and gas prices, especially. Mind you, this was updated at the end of 2022. The only thing we saw after that, especially on those grounds, is electricity and gas prices coming down. So hopefully we are doing better now. But basically, we reconfirm in general terms the numbers, getting to an NPV of 2 billion euros for this project, so a significant value inbuilt in the project. We all know that given the sort of strategic competitive advantage this project has, the location, the mineralization so close to surface, all the infrastructure that we enjoy here in north of Spain. And basically also very important, all those numbers 100% aligned with the numbers the banks use for their credit committees and to get the final approval of this 320 million loan. So probably you can argue an inbuilt conservatism in those numbers, which is always good when you start construction. It's not really that we feel that we start on a good platform to move forward and a good plan, but very much aligned with the banks. And still giving amazing economics. As I said, 2 billion in long-term potash prices. It is going to 3.5, depending on the potash prices if you are using the ones that we've seen recently in the market.
For sure. And then just in terms of the timelines towards production, when are you hoping to get into production? Also thinking about that phase one, obviously you get 500,000, but then looking into that phase two as well to add another 500,000 for the 1 million total. What's that look like for that pathway?
Well, we said when we announced the license is very much, as I said, is preparation, build up of the team. We obviously are going to take that very seriously, and it's quite an effort to go through financing to be completed. So we put ourselves target to start in the second half of the year. I mean, obviously, if we can use the summer months to start, it helps always with the surface work to do on dry conditions. It's a lot better. But that is our target. Phase two is, I think, is for us a no-brainer. At the end of the day, with half of the capex, we will add double the capacity. So it's difficult to argue against that. Moreover, when I think by the time that we get there, we will have to de-risk the project from a technical, marketing, and financing perspective, hopefully, as we generate cash flow. So very keen to get not only to phase 1, but obviously after that to phase 2. The permitting also covers both phases, so it's not any major permit on anything too special to go through. So that is also ready to happen as well.
It's been a milestone past period. There's been so much going on for Highfield Resources. Obviously, we've talked about the license, financing there. I know the All Ordinaries inclusion as well, which is a nice bit of recognition. I'd love just to hear some final reflections on how you've been thinking about it all. And for those investors who might be new to the Highfield Resources story, or those who have followed the journey, any final messages that you wanted to share with them?
I think for both those that have followed and those new to Highfield, very much I think is a recognition. We moved to a different company. I mean, obviously for 10 years or more, this was all about getting the permits. And I think we should be honest to say a big question mark about was that going to be possible? So I think we should be very, and I think still the company reflects a situation where we used to be, but we are not anymore, obviously, because as I said, the company is fully permitted, the project is fully permitted, and we are really started some construction, and we'll be starting the bulk of the construction very soon. So very exciting time, and a company that is transforming itself. I think from an investor point of view, that is what you are after, a company that used to be something, but will become something very different and hopefully a lot better going forward. So very, very, very important timing, I think, for investors as well, for our company.
Transformative period in the story. That's Highfield Resources. It's ASX HFR. Ignacio, always a pleasure to catch up. Look forward to watching the pathway towards construction.
My pleasure. Thanks for your time.